Next to talk and to speak and to analyze is Mr. Malek Alsweirki. He's a scholasticide in Gaza. That's the topic that we will be discussing in the next minutes. A witness to the systematic destruction of education. He needs to be with us online, and we will be listening to him for the next 10 minutes or 15. Mr. Malek, do you hear me?
Hello?
You are with us? Okay.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Malek, Scholasticide in Gaza, a witness to the systematic destruction of education. The time is yours.
Hello, everyone. Hi. So, my name is Malek Alsweirki. I'm a survivor of the genocide in Gaza, and I was recently evacuated from Gaza to Ireland, where I am now a student at the Trinity College Dublin. I spent 690 days in the Gaza Strip during the genocide, which is 1 year, 10 months, and 20 days. And today I stand here as a witness to Scholasticide, having received most of my education in Gaza, and watch everything I once learned turned into rubble before my eyes. In the 15 minutes I have, I will address the systematic obliteration of education in Gaza. Before the genocide, Gaza had one of the highest rates of education in the Middle East. And from my own experience, I believe this is because my community has always valued education, not as a privilege, but as a way to survive. And all of my community believe that education and civic participation were the only path to break that prison we lived and unfortunately still live in. And for us, breaking this prison meant freedom and survival. Until October 2023, my father was a professor of accounting and my mother was a mathematics teacher in a secondary school. My sister used to study dentistry at Al-Azhar University, and my younger brothers, who can unfortunately no longer attend the schools, were always among the top students in their classes. Ahmad who's my younger brother, he was in the 8th grade when the war started, and Luay, he's the youngest, he was in the 5th grade. As for me, I graduated from high school in July 2023 as the second highest ranking student across Palestine with a GPA of 99.4. I received a governmental scholarship to study at Al-Azhar University in Moghraqa city. I planned to study political science and pursue a career as a diplomat and a human rights advocate. I wanted to be someone who could represent her country with integrity and pride. However, and unfortunately again, and with the beginning of the genocide, my university was completely wiped out in November 2023, and the city where it once stood has become what Israeli soldiers now call the Netzarim checkpoint. And this was the first moment I understood that this genocide was not only against lives, but also against education. The destruction of my university marked the beginning of the forced erasure of learning in my community. And this is when I felt that Gaza began to lose not just buildings, but also values, culture, and the future generations of educated people. The jury should be mindful that scholasticide is not an abstract word. And to help you understand what it means for me and for Gazans, I will name the educational institutions my family and I attended from kindergarten to university and what has become of them. Bisan Kindergarten, which was my kindergarten from 2010 to 2012, now it's partially destroyed. Bara'am Kindergarten, now it's completely destroyed, and this is a kindergarten my sister attended from 2007 to 2009. Al-Karama Primary and Secondary School, it was turned into a military point, then destroyed, bombed repeatedly over displaced families seeking shelters. I studied in this school from grades 1 through 8, and this for me means 8 years of childhood memories. They all now crushed into rubble. The place where this school used to stand on, now it became a buffer zone between Gaza and Israel. And on the 8th of May in 2025, my cousin was killed in this school while sheltering there after his home in At-Tufah neighborhood was bombed. There is also Shaban Al-Rais High School. It got also militarized and bombed multiple times, including after a charity distributed food to starving refugees inside. It got bombed only because there was a charity distributing food there. My sister completed her high school there. I studied in 9th grade there. My mother used to teach there before the genocide. And when she returned after a partial strike in July 2024, before it got completely bombed, the teacher's room where she used to have her office was gone. She remembered the biscuits she had left in her drawer on the 5th of October 2023. And months later, amid famine, she said she would have given anything for that small piece of food, but the room itself no longer existed. There is
Malek,
also Al-Zahra Basic School.
Ms. Malek, can you hear me?
Yeah.
My apologies. We have just small requests for you just to slow a bit down because
I'm
our
sorry.
professors and academics are really doing their best to hear every single word of you. They find it very important. So just to slow a bit down. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, it's because I'm minding the time clock.
I know, it's okay. You can just take your time, slow down. We have enough time. Thank you very much.
Okay. There is also Al-Zahra Basic School in a Darj neighborhood. It got also completely destroyed and I studied my 10th grade there. There is also a Ramla Secondary School. It got completely destroyed in July 2024. And this really hurts me to talk about this school, especially because I studied my 11th and the 12th grades there. And I saw it in rubble in August 2024. When I saw it in this way, I couldn't speak. It felt like my years of efforts and the friendships were buried beneath the rubble. There is also Shijaiya School. This is where my sister studied her 11th grade there. It got also completely destroyed. There is also Dar al-Arqam Basic and Secondary Schools. This is where my two brothers used to study before the war. Now it's completely destroyed. There is also Islamic University of Gaza. It got repeatedly turned into a military base. Now it's partially destroyed, then it got completely burned. This is where my mother received her engineering degree. There is also Al-Azhar University. It got completely destroyed as well. One of my closest friends used to study there before the genocide. There is also Al-Quds Open University. This is where my mother also completed her second degree, mathematics. Now it's partially destroyed and completely burned. There is also Gaza University, Palestine University, and Al-Aqsa University. All of them are partially destroyed. Last but not least, there is also Al-Azhar University in Gaza City, not in Moghraqa City. So the one in Moghraqa City got completely bombed in the beginning of the war, but the one in Gaza City, here's the story of it. This is where my sister Farah was studying dentistry. It got bombed in November 2023 and later completely destroyed on the 5th of October 2025. Farah, my sister, and her classmates tried to complete most of their dentistry coursework online, but the practical courses were impossible for so many reasons. First of all, these practical courses should be in hospital and in university, but the university itself it refused to do that because, to be honest, hospitals gets bombed a lot and universities as well, so they didn't want to risk the lives of their students, and now her university got bombed, so my sister couldn't graduate till now, and my sister cannot apply for scholarships outside of Gaza because she didn't again graduate. The jury should note the wider context. Since October 2023, all schools in Gaza have been closed because it's too dangerous for students to travel or attend the classes under constant bombardment. Meanwhile, most houses and apartment buildings have been struck or destroyed, and this caused a displacing of hundreds of families into tents or single rooms. In this mass displacement, schools became shelters for last resorts, and even these shelters were attacked. The places deemed too dangerous for children to learn became the only places left for their families to live in. And what happened to my family on the 21st of December 2023 in front of Al-Azhar University in Gaza City shows what Scholasticide looks like on the ground. On 19th of December 2023, after an evacuation order, my family, my father, my mother, my sister, she was 20 years old, my brother who was 13, my youngest brother who was 9, and I was 18 years old, we left our home in a Tufah neighborhood for the safer western side of the city. We sheltered at my aunt's house, but my uncles took refuge inside Al-Azhar University, which is an educational institution, and it got turned into a place of displacement. 2 days later, my father asked us to go and visit our uncles, and because it was winter, they had no blankets. During the displacement, it's just so confusing that you just want to get out. You want to save your life. You can't take everything with you. So they didn't have a blankets. They didn't have pillows, and the windows of the classes they were staying in, they were shattered by previous attacks on the university itself. At around 3 p.m., as we approached the university gates, a tank appeared at the end of the street, accompanied by a small drone. People around us were walking peacefully. Everyone was walking peacefully. And without a warning, the tank and the drone opened fire on us, randomly at everyone. A mother stood ahead of us holding a baby, and my father shouted for us to lie down. My father got shot on his thigh, and my mother was shot in her waist. We shouted that we were civilians and we are unarmed. And we were standing in front of a university, which is a place just that should be protected under the international law. The shooting paused, perhaps because we were all lying down, and the soldier inside the tank, he thought that we were dead. So we ran toward the gates when the shooting paused, and when I turned my back, I saw my father was still on the ground. This is when I found that he got shot in his thigh. The tank began to move toward him slowly as if to crush him, and I ran back and dragged him away. During dragging him, I hear that the tank is preparing for a bomb, so for a shell, so it will bomb us. But luckily, I managed to pull my father inside the university gates. Moments later, after actually exactly at the same minute I managed to get my father inside the university, the tank bombed the gate and the entrance hall of the university. And this was the moment I understood that Scholasticide is not theoretical. It's the deliberate conversion of a university, which is a space of thought, a space of humanity, into a battlefield. And between who? Between civilians and soldiers. Al-Azhar University, where my father earned his degree and where my sister used to study dentistry, is now gone. It was bombed on the 5th of October 2025. And I still ask myself, even if peace comes, how could my sister ever return to study in a place where we nearly lost our lives? And then I remember, well, she will never think in this way because the building itself, the buildings of Al-Azhar University, the university itself no longer stand. My journey as a student began in desperation, with no safe path to continue my education. From September 2024, I applied to universities abroad because there was nowhere left to study in Gaza. Under impossible conditions, no electricity, no internet. It's not even stable. It doesn't even exist. I walked 2 to 3 kilometers every day to find a signal, often standing in the street while drones circled overhead. There were no internet cafes and nowhere safe to charge a laptop. More than once, I chose to spend money meant for food on data and or phone charging to submit my applications. I completed my entire applications on my phone. I couldn't sit for exams like for international students like IELTS or TOEFL in Gaza because all test centers were closed. So I completed an online test. It's called Duolingo. And this happened while, again, drones flew above my neighborhood. Despite this, I received fully funded offers from Harvard, Yale, UPenn, Notre Dame, Wellesley in the US, Cambridge from the UK, Georgetown in Qatar, and Trinity College Dublin in Ireland. And I'm here today. I'm here because of volunteers and mentors who helped me through months of danger, and because of the Irish government with others facilitated the evacuation of students from Gaza to the countries that will host them, because they realized the worth of education and that students who are coming from conflict zones actually deserve a chance to get education. And I'm profoundly grateful for this. But for me, gratitude doesn't rebuild what was destroyed. It doesn't bring back our teachers. It doesn't bring back our classmates. It doesn't bring back our classrooms or the safety that once defined learning in Gaza. The jury should consider what this war has done to Gazan children. Ahmad, my brother, who's 15 years old now, and Luay, who's 11 years old, they have been disconnected from formal education for more than 2 years. Instead of learning spelling and arithmetic, they learned how to find food and water. Where once they practiced sums and read the stories, they now count the days without a meal. And they, and alongside thousands of other children, they were all forced to grow into survivors, not into learn. They were all forced to grow into survivors, not into learners. The classrooms for children in Gaza, it means danger. It means surprising bombs. Schools that once displayed banners reading "My school is my second home" are now remembered as sites of mass massacres and despair. When a school becomes the last refugee for a family whose home was destroyed, and that refugee is bombed, what does this school mean for a child anymore? The place that maybe he or she lost their family in? Dear jury, we must face the truth. Education in Gaza has been deliberately and systematically attacked. Either we create new safe spaces for learning that do not carry the trauma attached to the word school, or we must name what has happened for what it is. Scholasticide, naming it as a first step toward ensuring it's not going to be repeated again. Finally, to my family, to Baba, to Mama, to Farah, to Ahmad and Luay, I carry you with me into every classroom I enter. And I promise we will go back to our schools again, we will learn again, and we will rebuild the minds that were destroyed. And I really ask the jury to see what we lost and give that loss a name, so that justice may follow. Thank you.